Hello everyone!
Freeze!
Is there anyone who doesn't love animals? We are absolutely sure that there are no such people among our viewers, but if you were thinking about domestic animals, just know that we won't be talking about them. In today's video, we'll tell you about wild animals, birds and fish, which for some bizarre reason ended up frozen in the ice. For some, this may seem a bit scary, so if you are very sensitive, we recommend you to move away from your screen. But keep in mind that the video is totally worth a look, even if just with one eye. So, without further ado, here are 7 frozen animals. Let's get it on. A fish frozen while eating another. Take a look at this interesting picture. This unusual sight was registered by the brothers Anton and Alexei Babbage during some winter fishing on Lake Wawasee in the US state of Indiana. The guys found a pike that was frozen in the ice with a fish in its teeth. Can you believe it? At first, they just took a picture of the fish and posted it online. However, the puzzled internet experts did not believe the brothers and claimed that the image was photoshopped. Then, the fishermen went back to the lake, found these fish again, and with a chainsaw cut out the piece of ice with them in it. They also recorded a video of the whole process so there would be no doubt left of the authenticity of the material. However, it is still unclear how the pike managed to freeze with a prey in its mouth. We can only imagine what happened there. Horses. What you're about to see now is really impressive. Once, some policemen in Kazakhstan made an insane find in a lake located 12 kilometers from the village of Shidurty. Through the layer of ice of the lake, many frozen horses could be seen. The workers of a local collective farm would usually let the herd of horses graze freely. No one followed them closely because everyone knew that the animals were tame and always returned to the pen unharmed. But one day, something went wrong and the horses didn't return home. At first, the local authorities suggested that a valuable loss could have simply been stolen to be sold, but the reason behind the disappearance of the 42 horses was found almost 6 months later. In the spring, during a routine inspection of the surrounding area, the police noticed the horses frozen to death in the ice-cold water. Seems to us that this is a very eerie and even a mystical sight. What do you think about it? Frog. This poor creature was photographed in the middle of a frozen Norwegian lake. Someone was skating in the area and noticed the frozen animal and just couldn't pass it by. The reason of why a frog was in the middle of the lake remains a mystery, but a version says that it might have been heading for its last pairing. But this was in the middle of the winter when all the other frogs are hibernating. However, it seems to us that things here are not so tragic as it may look like. As you probably know, these cold-blooded animals do not die from freezing, so the little frog has every chance to come back to life and be just fine. That is, of course, if no compassionate Norwegians try to dig it out of the ice and accidentally break it or something. Seagull. On February 7, 2013, water police officers of the port city of Duisburg in Germany were patrolling on a boat when they noticed a motionless seagull sitting on an ice floe. When the ship came closer to the piece of ice, the seagull clearly became agitated, but it didn't fly away, which seemed very strange to the policemen. When they took a closer look, they realized that the lower part of the body of the gull and the tips of its wings were frozen. There was nothing to do but come to the rescue of the poor creature. The patrollers cut off a small piece of the ice floe where the bird was and headed to the workshop for the maintenance of ships. There they started to warm up the seagull. After a few hours, the ice melted and the bird was set free. They then fed it and even called a vet. This is one of those interesting cases where the attention and compassion of humans saved the life of a small creature. Fishes in a wave. This strange phenomenon took place in March 2016 off the coast of a lake in the United States. Along the coastline of the pond, the ice froze in the middle of the air with dozens of fish in it. It seems that the fish were trying to jump away but were frozen mid-flight after being caught by an ice wave. We wonder, how did they all get there? When the cold comes, a thick layer of ice forms on the surface of the lake. It blocks the sun rays, and because of this, the underwater plants stop producing oxygen. As it turns out, all these fish were probably choking with the lack of oxygen and surfaced. And then the wind took care of the rest and began to move the ice. Then it somehow turns the mixture of frozen water and fish into what we see in the photo. By the way, this easy prey instantly attracted a lot of eagles, gulls, and ravens, which were very happy with the whole situation. Cat. This touching story took place in the Russian town of Zlatoust. Somehow the cat could be miraculously saved after being a victim of an ice trap. The animal was discovered by a couple in the first hours of the day under a car near one of the houses. As soon as they noticed the poor creature, they immediately launched a rescue operation. It took several buckets of hot water to release the cat. The animal could not move its paws and cried very loudly. Fortunately, the rescuers did everything possible and the animal was released. But you're probably worried about the health of the cat after this, aren't you? Everything turned out to be as good as possible. The animal started walking that same evening, and 3 days later he found a new home. Fox. Unfortunately, this creature was not as lucky as the cat we just showed you. These photos were published on the internet with the following caption: "The Serbian version of the cartoon Ice Age." Perhaps the author tried to make a joke, but we don't see how this can be funny. Since the appearance of these creatures, it is still unclear if this was a real animal or if the photographer just froze a doll in the lake to create this effect. We can only hope that the fox is simply not lucky and that it fell into this trap itself, and that no humans had anything to do with this. No matter how it was, we feel very sorry for this creature that fell into the trap of Mother Nature. If you do too, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you've seen something like this in real life, be sure to tell us in the comments below.
What will be if we wrap you round and round with Scotch tape? Throw the whole package into a microwave oven. Roast it quite well. Feed that to a giant hungry whale. After that, drown you in the ocean. Then bury you alive, send you into space, then let you drop back down to Earth straight to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. How about this? There's no time to explain. Press the button. You can't resist subscribing to this channel.